How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be continuing my Sharks of Summer series. Sharks of Summer is a series I do around here where once a week, at least once during the summer, I'm going to be taking a look at a shark movie. And with summer pretty much winding down, I do have to knock out another Jaws movie this year, and now we're going to be taking a look at Jaws 3, or as it's more commonly known, Jaws 3D. Yeah, this was in the air like Amityville or Friday the 13th. A lot of part 3s were super cheesy 3D movies. Some good fun there. This movie came out in 1983, 3 again, and is directed by Joe Alves. The movie stars Dennis Quaid, Bess Armstrong, and Simon MacCorkindale. And also something of note, on the writing team you have Richard Matheson. Super weird to see him here. You know him for I Am Legend in the Twilight Zone. A really good author, and he is working on Jaws 3. Okay. Anyway, really quickly, with the Jaws franchise, I guess I should talk about the previous ones really quick. The first Jaws, obviously a classic. I've seen Jaws 1 so many times, but with the sequel's reputation preceding them, my family never watched any of the Jaws sequels really before. Last year, I watched Jaws 2 for the first time, and it was super weird going back to that world and seeing Sheriff Brody again. Jaws 2, though, kind of just poorly mimics Jaws 1. It has its moments, but it's not as good, and it's so sad to see Brody there without any of his friends. But Jaws 2, it's okay, but really not great. Jaws 3, though, it's an interesting character. Jaws 3, obviously nowhere near the classic of Part 1, but I think it's better than the semi-forgettable Part 2. Maybe not in a technical way, but we're dealing with a super cheesy shark movie. As I said earlier, it's one of those 3D movies where stuff will float right up at the camera, like that severed arm or that infamous shot of the shark coming right at you. And things are pretty poorly comped in. I don't know why, but this movie has some of the worst green screen I ever seen. And it's not just the shark coming at you, it's things like characters standing in front of an undersea window, and it's just that is such a poor green screen. I don't know what happened, but yeah, some bad special effects, some cheesy 3D stuff. Talking about cheese, though, this time the shark is running around at a theme park. That in and of itself is a super interesting setting. And, you get to see various attractions, all the fish that they have in this park. It's a really interesting and energetic set. Also with really interesting and energetic characters. Granted, a lot of these characters feel like they're borrowed from the Friday the 13th series. It still is cool to see young people running around with life and energy, and the main characters all feel like they're having a good time making this movie. Dennis Quaid really does have a sense of life about him, and he'll joke with his friends, and you get the levity, and you get that humanity behind all the characters. So I really do like that going for the movie. Overall, yeah, it has more in common with the cheesy shark movies that would follow it. It's kind of echoes of the future in that way. More in line with later cheesy shark movies than the original Jaws, but I can't fault it too much. It was fun. If you're going in looking for that cheesy shark movie, I can definitely recommend this in that regard. Don't expect the classic of the first, but don't expect the forgettableness of the second as well. I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and talk a bit about the plot. I'm not going to do any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few plot points and use that as a vehicle to analyze this film further. but I won't be going too far towards the end. I'll be avoiding major spoilers, but let's analyze it. Anyway, we open up with the Brody kids, all grown up. Yeah, no returning actors from the previous two, but we do get returning characters, and it is cool to see Chief Brody's kids all grown up and check in on them later, you know? That being said, it is kind of strange when they do encounter another killer shark, and none of them even calls their dad. I guess maybe they don't want to traumatize him or anything, and they do reference, you know, I gotta be careful with sharks because of what happened in the past, but really, they could almost be their own characters. It's not super connected to the first one, but it is still cool to check in with the Brody kids. Anyway, the younger brother just graduated, and he's visiting his older brother, who works as an architect at SeaWorld. And yeah, it's not just a generic theme park. It's not like Waterworld or something. It's legitimately SeaWorld, and Shamu even shows up for a minute. At times it does feel a little bit like a commercial, but it is still an interesting set, interesting to use a real-world location in a fictitious setting, and as I said earlier, a lot of stuff to film at SeaWorld. And, okay, some of it is definitely filler, but I've seen super boring filler. And you might as well show me cool animals at SeaWorld, or actually probably way too much of water skiers making human pyramids. And also, man, some of the entertainment in the 70s, or early 80s, I guess, this movie is a bit of a time capsule. There's weird, like, you know, a bunch of people dancing around with some cartoon pig mascot in the center. I don't know why SeaWorld has a pig mascot thing. I don't know. Some of this entertainment you could probably splice into Fun and Balloon Land without anyone noticing. So, okay, there is a bit of filler with the whole SeaWorld element, but overall, it is a really cool set and lends something interesting and unique to this movie. Theme park sharks, you know? Anyway, so he's working there, he's dating one of the animal trainers, and they have a new undersea attraction. Literal tunnels and rooms and attractions underwater in their lagoon. Because SeaWorld knows the ending of this movie needs something big, but whatever. So they got that going on, and the lagoon is connected to the ocean. They do have a big gate, but of course, what's gonna happen? They'll leave the gate open a little bit too long, and a shark is gonna waltz right in. It is kind of funny, you know. The shark just so happens to wander right into another one of the Brodies. I guess some people have their fate tied to sharks, you know? But they actually quite quickly notice that there's a shark there, and they debate what to do about it. You get an Australian photographer who is really on team kill the shark. However, the older son's girlfriend is going to say, hey, let's not just kill this animal. There's no wild sharks in captivity, or great whites in captivity. We should capture it, and then it'll be a attraction for the park, and we also don't have to kill it that way. And of course, she talks the boss into this plan, and Brody isn't really on board because he knows, don't believe that pro-shark propaganda. All sharks are evil, just waiting to bite someone in half. Well, I won't go into the plot any further, but we do get some shark and amusement park shenanigans. Hunting the sharks, how can the sharks mess with the attractions? We do get a lot of Brody running around and trying to stop stuff. You know, I get, like, you know, Sheriff Brody in the first one had to run and yell at people, but you really think SeaWorld would have some walkie-talkies? Because he's like, stop the skiers! And I'm like, the guy in the boat doesn't have a walkie, you can't just tell him to stop. So there is some fun, cheesy moments, but I do want to say, it's not so much like its predecessor, like the people that followed it. Like, it's not Sharknado or anything. So you get a boat carrying a bunch of skiers, they're gonna fall in the water, Jaws 3 is going to bite at them, right? Well, in a later cheesy shark movie, you would have just some dumb CGI shark gobbling up all the skiers in a row like it was Pac-Man. So I do want to say, it is a cheesy shark movie, but it's not like the later shark movies where it tries to be cheesy and over the top and stupid. So I do kind of, find it a little more authentic that way, where it's cheesy unintentionally, And yeah, cheesy action, fun 3D moments, but with a group of characters that really feel human and lively, and you really don't want them to die or anything. And I do like it doesn't just try to mimic the first one like Part 2 did, but there are, connections, like the Brody kids, but also there's a few cases of mirroring, kind of like how the Star Wars series would mirror each other sometimes. There's a few more subtle callbacks. In particular, I really like the younger Brody really hits it off with this girl, and she says, "Let's go swimming late at night in the lagoon." And as an audience, you remember Part 1, and you're a little weary about nighttime swimming in the lagoon. So I did find that things like that were entertaining. So I guess final thoughts with Jaws 3, know what to expect. Know that this is if Jaws was a predecessor to all those shark movies that came later, Jaws 3 was really a predecessor to all those cheesy ones that came later. It's super fun, cheesy, totally watchable. Again, not the serious good grade A gold star classic of the first one, but I found it better than Part 2. Now, I know Part 4 is supposed to be this super cheesy, so bad it's good movie. I am looking forward to that. I'll see what's up with that when I get to that, and then maybe I'll do a retrospective on the series. I don't know. But anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Shark Movies playlist, where you can see my reviews for the first 2 Jaws movies. I also talked about things like the Deep Blue Sea series, the Sharknado series. I talked about quite a few of them. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.